está bien duro. Dice que soy enemigo. Sé que tú quieres estar conmigo. Te siente el flow que tú estás.
Yo, what's good, mi gente? It's another episode of Las Chicas del Barrio.
Good, y'all.
Period. So you already know the vibes. We got Nati Natalia over here and Steph for the future and your girl, that killer Brit. So for today's episode, we decided that we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna start off with a moment of silence for all the people who have lost their lives to police brutality. So just take a moment of silence. Thank you. Alrighty then. So to begin, basically we've been getting, I guess, asked a lot this question about are we going to be talking about, the George Floyd situation? How about racism that's still going on in America?
Yeah.
The Black Lives Matter movement, the Latino community, and how their perspectives in reference to Black Lives Matter and things like that, and things that we've noticed on social media or things that we have seen firsthand, as well as our personal feelings in reference to the matter. So to begin, Nati, let us know how are you doing, girl? How's it over there in Cali? Because Nati's on the West Coast, so
Yeah.
how's it, girl?
So I feel like it hasn't been too bad. Our first day where like the protest started and like the riot started, it was pretty bad. The one on Fairfax, it's a place here in LA. The stores off Fairfax got pretty messed up because of the riots. But what I've seen as far as like the protests, so the protests start in the day. I've seen them earliest from like 12, and then we have a curfew in the LA County, depending on like where you're located. Then that's when like kind of the riots take place. So it's been pretty peaceful here for the most part. I think a good amount of people show up. I know there was one officer who, it was the second day, because the first day was kind of like everywhere. The second day, one of the police officers was talking to one of the protesters and letting him know, like, there was a fire started here. A lot of the fires were going on as well. So there was a fire, and he let the protester know, like, hey, like, we're not here for you. We're here for the fire. And he acknowledged that, like, the George Floyd, he was murdered. And, like, basically he was saying along the lines, like, that cop wasn't doing his duty. That was murder. I think that's the thing that's I've liked seeing, is like coming together, not only as like a community, but also with people who are in leadership, who are in these roles as like cops and sheriffs and deputies, where we're having those conversations, like, this is our side and this is our side, so let's make it work. Because to me, I think it's more about, it's not right versus wrong. Like, this is human rights. This is human dignity we're talking about. So if we keep going like a tug of war, nothing's going to get fixed. It's about compromise, So both of us, both sides have to work together to move forward. So this shit won't happen again in 5-10 years,
Yep.
Right.
I 100% agree with that statement. I feel like these are the conversations that need to get taken. And I actually respect officials who are willingly and who truly, like I said, truly say, hey, that's murder. We don't agree. Not just saying it because they want to say it to stop people from protesting, but to say, like, listen, I don't agree with that. That's incorrect. And you know what I'm saying? So I give a lot of, to the people, or to the officials, I guess, who are doing that, kudos to them. Like, that shows a lot, at least for me, I think, compared to just you blowing smoke out your ass. So I like that. How about you, Steph? How you feeling about what's going on, little mama?
I have a lot of conflicting views. My problem is, well, I don't want to say a problem. I want to say that I think the main issue here is that people, like how Nat said, it's not like a race thing, guys. It's a human rights thing, right? Like, our ancestors and the people before us fought so hard for us to live in a cohesive environment that why are we reverting back to the past? It's just like, it's a human thing. If you think that it's okay what this cop did to George Floyd, not only do I think you have like a spiritual thing going on in you, I also think that you have like an emotional like setback. Because if you don't have a heart, if you any human being that has a heart and sees that video and this man is crying out for his dead mother,
oh my God, I know,
then I think that you need to go see some psychiatric help, or go ahead and see your local pastor or something, whatever, for you to get at least that. If you think that's correct, if you think it's funny, me personally, I want to look at it in the route as I'm going to pray for you, because that's something that's not okay. If you can see that video and not even feel something, because at the end of the day, it could have been your family members, it could have been mine. Because as identifying as Afro-Latina, that could have been my cousin, that could have been someone else, and it's just not okay. So I think that I commend for people who are doing the protesting. I think that this is the change. This is the time for change. This is the year that we're making all this progress. And I commend all the people, our leaders, anyone who's really not afraid to speak out. I think I commend you guys. And I think that we should look into it as, what can we do to start changing things, and not looking at it as a negative. It's a negative situation, but we're going to make a positive outcome out of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. That's good. And I guess it leaves me. So I have, I guess, multiple feelings about it. Mostly two-sided. Oops, sorry. So mostly two-sided. So my first feeling is sadness, because like I said, like if you watch that video, it's like, it's hard. Like as a human being, like you're seeing somebody, like I analyze it as well, like this is somebody's last breath that I just witnessed. You know what I'm saying? Like that's hard, actually, as a person. Like for me, especially me being a people person and shit, like I don't take death good, period, point blank. I've already established that, you know? So having to see that was like, wow, like I thought that we had already passed this, you know? And then the second feeling that I have, other than sadness, is I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a sense of, though this happened, no, I'm kind of happy of the outcome, in the sense of like people are now realizing, yo, America's fucked up, you know? Because I feel like people have this idea, oh, America, land of the free, and like it's like the best country to live in, and we're like the smartest country. And I don't agree with any of those things. First of all, land of the free, you stole it from the Native Americans, so technically speaking, we're thieves. Smartest country, definitely not. Yeah. Asian countries are definitely taking the spot. India's taking the spot. Yeah, there's other countries that are taking that. Yeah. Do I say what I do like about America is that we are liberalists and we're able to have freedom of speech compared to a lot of these countries? Yeah, and I am 100% happy that though we're not the smartest, though we are a crazy country, we do exercise our First Amendment right with freedom of speech. So that has made me happy seeing the protests. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of happy that they're burning down these Targets. I love Target, but I like that it's making a statement. It's showing that that's it. Yeah, enough is enough. And I'm tired of I'm tired of my friends feeling oppressed. You feel me? Like they've gone through, a lot of my friends are people of color or are biracial and things like that. So I'm happy, you know, like we're all coming together. We're like, no, fuck 12. Fuck all these people. Like, it's time for shit to get changed. And not to say that I'm not saying that all officials or law officials are bad. No. But there definitely needs to be more action taken and more consequences when you do things like this. You feel me? Because I don't think it's correct that these officers are over here. Like, it's like 3 guys on this one man. Like, and I was thinking about it logically speaking in my head, like, okay, so how about when I play around with my sister and I pretend like I'm dead on her, you know, and I sit all my weight on her, and she's like, oh my God, you know, can you imagine 3 guys on one person? He's like, what, 200 pounds, let's say, and those other guys are like 200 pounds each. That's 600 pounds, like, on somebody's neck. Like, nah. So yes, I'm sad, but I'm happy of the outcome. I'm happy everything that they're doing to bring awareness to this, because I wish that my community would do the same, because I feel
agree.
like in the Latino community we're very behind, and we're the quiet community where we don't want to get into problems with people. We don't like to talk about the subject. We don't like to do any of those things. And I am overly happy that the people of color community and other communities are coming together as one to show, Black Lives Matter. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, all lives matter, but right now we need to focus on Black lives. Like, that's because they're right now suffering the most in reality. Like, they
and
are,
don't get it
and they've
twisted
been
either.
suffering.
Like, sorry,
No, go.
like the people for the Black Lives Matter, it's other people who taken that and put the word only Black Lives Matter in front of it. They did not say that. Right now, they're just reaching out to the other communities, specifically like minorities, as well as like the Caucasian community as well.
Yeah.
To like let us know we need your help. And
Exactly.
like for me, I've cried watching that video. I've cried watching his family talk about him, because first off, he was in Minnesota to do like Christian work for a conference or a program. So how heartbreaking is that, you know? And everybody talks about him as like a man of peace. And I've seen videos of him talking like from his Facebook and stuff like that. And you truly feel that. And it's like, this was a human being who was taken away brutally and far too soon. And it gets me mad when because some people don't know who he is, who's George Floyd. You know, people who are on Instagram or who are going to the protest, oh, who's George Floyd? Like, okay, you guys don't know. But he left behind a 6-year-old daughter, Gianna Floyd. Beautiful little girl. There's an interview with him and his family. Oh, I'm sorry, with the family that his ex-wife and his daughter.
I saw it with Good Morning America, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw it.
And it's so sad watching that, because she's 6 years old. So imagine when 10 years from now, she'll be 16, maybe getting her first phone, computer, tablet, whatever it may be.
Boyfriend.
Yes. But specifically with the internet, once she becomes more affiliated with the internet, all she has to do is type in her father's name, and that video of his death is going to come up. I cannot fathom me ever putting in my father, my brother, my uncle, whoever, even my friends, and having a video of their death come up for 8 minutes, him asking, I can't breathe, or begging for his mom, you know? Like,
yeah.
I think that's what people need to realize is like, oh, like, why do you care? Like, that's because that little girl should not know that her father's killers are still out there. You know, like, they will be brought to justice. And you know what? Today, thankfully, they've all been arrested. The murder charge got put up to second-degree murder.
Yep.
Like, that's why. And sometimes it's like, I understand people who are like, you know, let's do it peacefully. I get that. But you have to understand that they've been asking peacefully for a long time.
Bro, since the civil rights movement.
And
even
go ahead.
Girl, no, I was going to say since the freaking civil rights movement. Like, that's when, like, first of all, and before that, they have been facing oppression for 400 years, okay? So they were taken from their country, right, and brought to a foreign land as property, and now suffrage throughout those years to now finally, when civil rights movement was 1968, I think, around there?
Yeah.
1964, something like that?
1962, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we're still doing this? Like...
No, it's true. No, it's like, it kind of makes you think, like, this is what I was like saying. Why are we reverting back to old mindsets, behaviors, where at the end of the day, to be honest with you, I also think like I want to take this time and thank the Black community. Maybe us Latinos can learn something from them, and hopefully they help us with our struggles as well.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like that, like us being a minority in this country, I think that in every aspect of the United States, we always get the short stick.
Of course.
Education. Okay, when you go ahead and for example, like when you fill out a job application and stuff, when you click where you're from, you just think that's a click. No, it's not. It really isn't. It's literally like a systematic thing. Like we always get the short end of the stick. And I think
it's proven. Statistics show it.
yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like I think that the Black community, like how Nat was saying, like there's people like, oh, all lives matter. Yes, they do. But at this point in time, we have to help one of our brothers and sisters make that change. Because because it's going to happen. I definitely do believe that from this, a lot of things are going to change.
Yeah, I agree.
Next step for us, you know?
yeah. I think it's kind of empowering to see them and inspirational, you know?
Yeah,
I agree.
I think people have the wrong perspective, like, oh, well, how come it's so big or they don't show up for us? Actually, they do. And I've had a lot of conversations this past week with my friends who are Black, my friends who are Latino, my friends who aren't Latino. Specifically with the Latino community, because we are a representation of that. I've noticed the people who are speaking out like, oh, well, where are they when we're protesting? You've never protested and you've never spoken out.
Yeah.
Who are, but that's another thing I want to hit as well. I think with the Latino community, there's so much racism between us. So if something happens in Mexico, it's the Mexican making that move. If something happens in El Salvador, like this past week, unfortunately, there was a storm that hit and they were already suffering super bad because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was really making that statement for Salvadorians besides the Salvadorians or like Hondurans or Nicaragua. Like we don't band together, you know what I mean? Because if you think about it, with the Black community, there's so many different states that they came from, but they come together. Steph?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Look at my charger.
I think seeing this Black Lives Matter movement has made me want to get involved more, know what's going on in my community with the law, with everything. And let's be clear as well. Let's put something out there, or I'll put something out there.
Mm-hmm.
The racists aren't just cops. It's also in our education system. They're teachers, they're principals, superintendents. They're within our own workforce. I work in the corporate world. Trust me, I've seen that. There's our neighbors next door. So they're everywhere. So if you're going to hold someone accountable, hold them accountable in all places. So teachers that tell you can't do something, or they're discriminating against you because you're a student of color, set them straight. You know, like let's hold everybody accountable, not just one person. Because by holding each other accountable, that's what's going to implement change, you know. And not to say that we have to be rude and like start fighting and stuff.
No, just have a conversation.
Be vocal. Yeah.
100. And I feel like too, especially in the Latinx community, that we, like you said, we like to say, oh, but they're not helping us out. But in reality, what are we doing to vocalize? Like, for example, the Dreamers, they vocalize what they do, you know, like, but we don't put forth the maximum effort because we just want to stay quiet. We don't want to talk about it. We don't bring up these discussions. We're just trying to get by on life, you know, because they're scared.
It's crazy because like the reason I use my voice is because if you think about it, the Black people, when they were brought to America, that was against their will. Our Latino culture, we leave our countries. Why? The government's corrupt. We don't have rights. We can't speak out. So we come to America because we know that at least here we'll have something a little better. So for me, I think of my grandparents when they're back home in their country and all that jacked up stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
It's a shame and a slap in the face if I don't use my voice, you know?
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I think about it like this, like we have privilege, even though we are a minority and there's stuff that happens to us. And that could be another episode where we'll get into that as far as the Latino community. But if you think about it, like the Black people, ever since they've been here, they were a property of a white person. Property. when they trace down their lineage, unfortunately, some people will see their great 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 grandfathers
being a slave,
hanging from a fucking tree, and a whole bunch of the KKKs and the white people having a party because they killed somebody from a tree. They were lynched. That's the proper terminology. Like, that's so disgusting. And let's not forget, people, especially to my Latinos out there, when it was about segregation and it was like founding
Roe versus Wade, what was it about?
They had for the whites and they had for colored.
We would fall under the colored.
Exactly. Yep.
So don't even get me started on, oh, well, we don't matter. No, we count. We were there, but we need to change that. So that's why for me, I have friends and really good friends that are basically like brothers to me. If they're going through something, I'm going to go through it with them too. So if I use my platform for a certain way, I'm going to spread awareness for that, because
100%.
Nobody should have to do that.
Yeah.
Or go through what they went through.
I
totally agree. I think that people also don't really educate themselves, and I think that's the fundamental thing. Well, I've heard a comment from a Latin person saying that doesn't really pertain to me. Well, if you go back in history, we are all basically, even if you come from like European descent of a Spanish person, at the end of the day, you are an immigrant.
Afro-Latino.
And you're an Afro-Latino.
Yo, Hondurans. Shout out, yo, my Hondurans, let me inform you, okay? Christopher Columbus, that fucking genocide man who killed a whole bunch of Native Americans that you guys want to say discovered America. No, he killed people. That murderer that everyone celebrates in October. Okay, let me tell you about your little homeboy, Christopher Columbus. Okay, he brought slaves to Honduras. Therefore, if you notice, a lot of Hondurans, they're like 10 and stuff like that. We're mixed with we're mixed with Africans. There's a city in Honduras that is full of Africans, like, and they speak their native language and things like that. So especially when I hear Hondurans say, "Oh no, well, we're not black," I'm like, "Boo, you obviously didn't learn about that." Yeah,
5,000%. Actually, even for example, Afro-Latinos, like even in our religious sense, those things came from Africa, number one. It's called spiritism.
Yeah.
You know, all those things come from Africa. And my friends, where is Africa? We are all a melting pot. So when I hear things like that doesn't really pertain to me, I'm like,
you know, punta comes from Africa too, right? Punta.
Yeah, like all of those things come from Africa. So when I hear people, this is what I'm saying, people don't educate themselves.
Yeah, and that's why it's just like, it's kind of sad,
that's the first fuck up. That's your first fuck up. Why are you not educating yourself? We live in a country where resources are basically free, and you still don't have the decency and the respect for yourself to educate yourself, to actually use this time. You need help. You need to go Google. You need to.
For real, and mind you, we live in such a liberal country where you can literally Google search you can Google
whatever you want.
Yeah, and it goes on forever.
Yeah,
you feel me? Yeah. You can go link after link after link after link after link, and it goes on forever compared to other countries. Or I get it, if you're from another country, let's say for example Venezuela, okay, China, where they restrict the internet. Okay, I get it. You need to. But you're from here. Yo, the internet is not restricted here. You can search up so many things. So that's why I think too, it's kind of ignorance when people say, well, it doesn't pertain to me or it doesn't matter. I don't really know about it. You have this.
Because you don't want to know about it.
You have this. This is a portable computer. You can literally be on the bus. Oh, okay.
And there's so many different types of resources. If you don't like to read articles, YouTube. You don't want to watch little short videos, documentaries and videos on Netflix.
Yeah.
You're going to do it anyway, so might as well educate yourself more. And like, that's my thing. Like, I've had conversations with friends who are like, oh, well, I don't want to say anything because I don't know.
Ask.
Why don't you go figure it out?
Yeah.
If I'm in class and I don't know something, I need to tell my teacher or my peers, I don't get this. Because once I'm going to be asked to go up to the board, I'm going to look real stupid because I didn't take the time to learn. Sit there, and if you're not like these conversations, they're hard. You're gonna go somewhere deep where it's not like
Yeah.
you like the color green.
And
No.
you're gonna feel uncomfortable, and
Mhm.
it's okay to feel uncomfortable, like we discussed before, because you're learning something. I think that's the key. You're learning something. Like you said, we had a previous conversation with Nat, and she had said your silence is so loud right now. If you're
Yeah.
silent, if you're not disgusted, if you don't feel something, that is a lot. I feel like that's a lot. If you're not signing these petitions, bro, we've put links out, like if you're not doing something to help out, you're part of the problem at the end of the day. I'm sorry to say that, but you're part
Yeah.
of the problem. Like, you need to do something. And I get it, people's perspective. We're like, oh, well, I don't agree with the looting thing, and I don't agree with, okay, it's okay to not agree with everything. I get it, it's okay. But inform yourself, like that's the key. Inform
Yeah.
yourself on what's going on. Like, see, like, like you said, this little girl, when she's 16 years old, is going to see that her father was murdered, and it's going to be all over the internet, because it's all over
Mhm.
the internet. There's no sensing it. She's going to see her father plead for his life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
It's sad. It's sad. I think like you really have to, like how you were saying, being uncomfortable, you have to really ask yourself the number one question. I think each and every one of us, doesn't matter if you're like whatever, you got to ask yourself, do I think this is okay? And if you really don't think that's okay, then you have to ask yourself, okay, so I live in a country where my freedom of speech, my First Amendment, it cannot be taken away from me. I don't know anything about the situation or whatever the case may be. Let me educate myself first and see how I can make a change. I think that we don't really ask ourselves, like, I don't think people, how to explain it? I don't think that people go around and say, I don't want to educate myself. I think that they don't want to. Because
Yeah,
it's
because I think they're
when you
scared.
want, because because you're scared, right? Because if I really want to research something, like I can research how to buy a pair of jeans, right? Or like the new phone posits or whatever the fuck may be.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't want to research on petitions or how to register to vote or how to do those things, then it's a want. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then you have to ask yourself, why don't I want to do it? Where is this stemming from? What's the root of the problem? Why do I
Yep.
think like that? So I think that you have to get uncomfortable first, and we have to accept being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable means growth. And if you don't, everyone wants to grow. Everyone wants to be a big person in life. Everyone wants to do this, but no one
Yep.
wants to do the work.
Yeah, yes. And you know what, also too, people, you're not born racist. I hope you know that.
You're not. It's all in
You're
your
not.
household.
Yes, it is. It's all in the household. This is what you're brought up. And honestly, listen, don't get me wrong, I don't support racism whatsoever, but you have to think, I thought about it like this, right? Take, for example, we're going to use a typical white American household that's racism from, let's say, the KKK, right? We'll use that. These are generational things. Generational. So to them, they don't see it as a problem because they weren't brought up that way. You get me? So how do you think that, how you can't tell someone, for example, that has lived their whole life a certain way for 25 years and say, no, your way of thinking is wrong, mine's is right. You can't say that. You have to educate and show. You have to listen to their perspective of things as long as your perspective of things. You feel me? And this is why we need to bring up this is why we're having this conversation now. Like, we just feel like this is why we have to have conversations like this, because I'm not going to say, listen, if I know someone and they're part of the KKK and they're okay, even better example, we won't even use racist, we'll use religion. So I actually met somebody when I was working at a shoe store who was a Satanist. And I was like, because he was trying to buy Doc Martens, he was wearing all black. So then I was talking to him or whatever, and then he came up on the topic of like Satanism. But this guy was like the sweetest guy ever. But in my head, in the way I was brought up was, well, if he's a Satanism, he's the devil.
He has to be bad.
And he's they're horrible people, whatever. And I met him and I was like, wow, I was brought up this way. And it instantly took a conversation with someone, and he explained his reasonings as to why he became a Satanist. And he was elaborating, and I was like, wow, like, I respect that you took the time, one, to educate me on the matter, so I'm able to understand. Like, when I hear someone say, oh, well, Satanism is, I'll be like, not all people are like that, though. You have to open up that door for conversations. Hence why I feel like right now, I am liking the fact that this conversation is being brought up and they're like saying, that's it. You feel me? We're not sitting here. We're not listening, because peaceful protests can only go so far. Let's be real, you know, because I feel like the government wasn't doing shit until people started burning down Targets. So people started actually saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to stop one day. We're going to keep going the second day and the third day, you know? Not to say the looting, I don't agree with 100%. No.
I
But I'm
definitely don't agree with
saying,
the looting.
but burning these corporations, Gucci, Target, burn them
They
bitches
can
down.
afford in their budget.
Yes,
Yeah, and especially like
100%.
here, that was a really big problem in LA because Rodeo Drive was like hit as well for riots. Louis Vuitton, like there's 2 points I want to make here.
Mm-hmm.
They can sell a purse, their window gets fixed. So don't take it personally. Second, we need, that shows us, because majority of these people who are rioting are our age, maybe 30, max 40. Also the kids in high school. We need to teach our society, our children, our people, our generation, that it's more important to know who and what is going on in your community than having a Supreme shirt, having a Louis Vuitton purse.
Yep.
Because you can take a little cute ass picture, but that doesn't make you a good human being. That doesn't put you in a right state of mind.
Which is what I kind of, that's my whole big thing on this whole what's going on, right? I was seeing the sermon of my 2 favorite pastors, but even taking like the religion out of it, right? Something that spoke volumes to me was the following, where John Gray said, it really just starts in our household. How are we raising these kids, right? How are we raising our children to say, okay, what we should be doing is the following. This person might look different from you. We think different things, but there has to be a respect thing. There has to be a kindness thing. Because at the end of the day, what someone's pain is going through, you should be
empathetic,
compassionate, and put yourself in their shoes. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I remember growing up, I mean, it's true. Black kids are treated completely different from white kids and Spanish kids. I put that, and I've seen that in my own thing. And I'm just like, okay, why? And also, all right, I'll put my little 2 cents in this whole matter. I look at it as the following. I think our brothers and sisters are hurt. We're in pain. I think that
which is valid reasons to be in pain.
Valid reasons, because I mean, you've been over for your history, you know, for them is different from ours. For example, they were enslaved, they have been oppressed, they have always gone through these trials and tribulations that life has thrown at them for no reason, because they're colored, right? Let's put that out there. So obviously it's going to be natural that it's a generational thing, that you are going to maybe raise your children or your grandchildren or whatever with a certain mindset, right? I think that we have to first acknowledge that our brothers and sisters are in pain, and that when we act from pain, maybe we don't think correctly, right? So I'm reading this book from Donald Epstein called The 12 Stages of Healing, and I think it's kind of like in the best timing, because now we're in the way that there's a 400-plus-year-old wound that's starting to heal, right? And healing hurts, but it's necessary, right? We all know anatomy, right? So something that stuck out to me was this quote from Anwar Sadat, and it says, "He who cannot change the very fabric of his thought will never be able to change reality, and will never therefore make any progress." And what stuck to me was the following. It all starts with the thought, right? So like how we were saying about educating our household first, that's the number one. We should always say to our kids or whoever's around us, whoever really, even our older generation, you know, even our older
I was just gonna
generation,
say that. Yes, our parents.
It's very our parents have a very
The shush mindset,
or shush mindset, where they think, you know what, this is what it is, where we should come and say, you know, Mom, like nowadays it's not really like that, or Grandma, you know, really it's not like that. Or for example, in the Latin community, I will say that we have a very shush mindset, and also like we have a certain mindset when it comes to colored people. But what we don't tell our parents is, well, that's not correct, because at the end of the day, our history, we derive from African descent. So
Yeah.
in our lineage, we are also Black, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's number one, that we have to educate our households. I think that we should also educate our future generations to be empathetic, and like empathetic, and put yourself in another's perspective, right? Stop being so self-centered. It's not all about you. Sorry to break it to you. We don't live in a glass chain, like, where everything is beautiful and perfect. Absolutely not. You have to stop being so self-centered. Like, think about what the other person is going through. Think about it. Like, think about what this little girl is going through.
Exactly.
Think about what her family is going through. Her brother, what he's going through. You know, that it could have been him, right? And it's just like, we're in 2020, guys. Let's wake up and smell the coffee. Like, it's not all beautiful. You have to have some certain compassion, because at the end of the day, it could have been you. It could have been your friends. And would you act the same way if that was your relative? No.
Exactly. And don't wait for it to be that, for you to take the lead. You know, it starts now. Because frankly, I want to put that out there for all my people watching this. If you just want to be a bystander, because we learn about that in school. You want to be a bystander. You want to be here, be closed-minded, not wanting to learn, not wanting to use your voice for something. And that doesn't mean, if you don't want to post on Instagram, cool, whatever. You better be signing petitions. You better be having uncomfortable conversations. But you could, don't sit here and tell me, oh, well, you know, they're rioting and, you know, they destroyed property and like a little statue. Okay, so if they're doing that,
all of that can get replaced, by the way.
What was the price for George Floyd's life? For all the people after him and the people that we don't, before him, sorry, not after. And the people that we don't know. Like, you can't put a price on a human being. So you could go be in your little bubble, but you're not welcome at this table for which we three sit. Because at this table with this audience, we take action. And we understand that we will never be of like a Black person. We will never know. We only know what it's like to be Latinas.
Really know.
Mm-hmm.
We can only, and I don't know, for me personally, compared to everyone, I would say, I guess I'm not like posting all the time, but at least I'm part of a podcast where I'm having an uncomfortable conversation and actually being very passionate about these things. Like, in the sense of, and I go, wow, like, we're really in 2020 and we're acting like this. This shouldn't even be a subject. This person, George Floyd, should be at home with his daughter. And at the end of the day, because someone decided that they use their power, because I'm sorry, like, even though I'll put this out there, I respect the law enforcement and I respect people who take the oath and actually take the oath to protect your citizens and not take advantage of the power. Because that's where
our tax and mind you, honestly, they want to say they work for the law, but those are our tax dollars that are paying.
Those are our tax dollars, right?
So in reality, you work for me, bitch.
Oh, and those police thingies that we destroy, we're gonna pay for that, guys. Just putting that out there. We pay for it with our tax dollars.
Like, people don't really think, who pays these people's salaries? You do.
And that's another thing. Educate yourself.
This is what I'm saying. It's just like, I will be damned that, like, okay, yeah, maybe I don't post 5,000 posts and everything, but at the end of the day, I'm here sitting down having an uncomfortable conversation, because it is a little bit uncomfortable in the sense of, I will never experience a Black woman's difficulties. I will have my own. But I at least can put myself in her shoes and say, you know what? I'm never going to experience it like you, but I'm here for you. And I'm here for you, right? Another thing, lastly, that I will say, guys, two negatives don't make a positive. And John Gray spoke about this, by the way, Black pastor, which he's freaking amazing. Amazing, guys. Even if you're not a religious person, he's just a very intellectual person that you can learn from. It's not okay to be racist at all, right? It's not okay. No. I don't care. I mean, I don't care where you're from. It's just not okay. It's just not okay. Because at the end of the day, no one chooses to be white. You just happen to be white. Facts. No one chooses to be Black. You just happen to be Black. That is what life had for you, right? Yep. So yeah, he was mentioning how, like, Just like it's not okay for a white person to call a black person a nigger, it's definitely not okay for a white person to also disrespect. I'm sorry, a black person to disrespect a white person. Because at the end of the day, two negatives don't make a right. It's not okay, in my perspective, that we have to give each other respect, right? Like, I know someone who is a black person, and his mom told him, I don't feel comfortable you dating a white person. How about you let your son decide? And how about you let your son decide, what if that's a really good person? What if that's the love of his life? And you're going to go ahead and be disrespectful towards your son's decision because she's white? That's not okay either. It's not. Or just like how a Spanish person, where, you know, we have this stigma that, like, maybe you should date people of lighter complexion because you don't want your kids to come out with super curly hair. How about you let me decide if that person has a good heart or the character of their person, and then I can make that decision. Because at the end of the
Story
day,
of my life.
Listen, this
Both.
is Gus. Listen,
Both scenarios, story of my life.
Hair, right? Like, it's just a plancha. That's what it is.
That's true, yeah.
You know, I had to go through that actually recently. Because, you know, like I said, Hispanics have this idea, curly hair is not a thing. It has to be straight. I personally decided to embrace my curly hair because, like, that's what makes me me, you know? Like, if I were to have straight hair, then I would rock my straight hair, but I wasn't given that. And I'm not going to ruin my curls for a plancha, you know? And it's crazy that we live in those times still. And I had to explain to one of my relatives where I was like, listen, because they're like, oh, well, you work in a bank and you cannot have curly hair. You need to have straight hair. So I was like, and I thought in my head, I was like, oh, really? I didn't know that was a thing. So then I talked to the people that worked there. I was like, so can I not wear? She goes, oh, you can wear any hair you want. We don't care. And I was like, okay, perfect. Best believe I wear my curly hair everywhere. Like, I don't feel like I should drop down to the stigma, you know. It's like that's what makes you, you know, like you can't change. I can't change. I mean, I could, but like in reality, I would still have to do products in my hair to make it still straight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, for example, you can't choose to be black. You're born that way. You know, that's not a choice. You can't just wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I'm going to be white today.
And also, I want to put this
work like
out
that.
there. And I want to put this out there. I'm not belittling the Caucasians. No, I'm going to put that disclaimer. But I love the fact that these people, like white Caucasians, right? Okay, like I've seen it, and everyone has seen it. They're so adamant about, you know, being kind of like talking about black people in derogatory terms. So if you hate them so much, why do you tan so hard?
Period.
Or get a spray tan. Or rock the braids.
Yeah.
Or listen to the music.
Yeah.
If you feel so adamant about it, then go ahead and stick to country music. But I don't think so. I think you guys are the same ones listening to Travis Scott or Kanye, which, it happens to be that they happen to be black males.
Yeah.
So
it's the black culture. Like, you can't say like, oh, well, I'm for this, but you know, when it comes to Black Lives Matter, no. You can't.
No, it doesn't work like that.
You can't pick and choose what you support. Like, it's either you're all in or you're all out. To be honest, like that's what it is. You know, like it's no like, oh, well, I'm gonna like this person, and no, baby, it doesn't work like that. But I have a question for you guys. So, how do you feel about this president that we have? And him referring to, okay, so I think it was April, I want to say, when the whites, because that's what I'm going to call it, were protesting in Michigan about, you know, that they need their jobs now because, you know, everything was shut down. And mind you, they all had these fucking AR-15s and all these weapons. And, you know, the president's tweeting, because that's his form of communication with the country. Which
is absurd to me.
Ridiculous.
So, someone needs to check those tweets. They need to, before he hits send, they're gonna be like, let me see the phone.
For sure.
Let me edit real quick because terrible.
It makes me think, where's the checks and balances of this country?
No idea. Missing.
No idea.
Clearly.
Actually,
they're real quick when Obama used to tweet and shit, right? But okay.
But so how do you feel that he referred to those people with all those weapons and stuff like that as peaceful protesters, like peaceful protesters, but yet when it came to the people of color and us making the movement and, like, you know, we're burning down Target, let's say, he's like, these thugs?
I actually screenshotted that earlier. It's kind of funny that you bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tweet, not from him, but it's if Arabs are holding these rifles, they're terrorists. If Latinos are holding these rifles, we're criminals. If Blacks are holding these rifles, they're a threat. What is white privilege? And this is the picture right here.
Yep. Yeah.
I think
You can go in first, not.
okay.
You can go first.
I think that's ridiculous, and it doesn't help. Like, because this whole issue here is like human dignity and racism. You can't tell me, I'm kind of racist, like not really racist. No, you are, you're not. It's yes or no. That period. You can't tell me, no. That is so fucking racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, in some states, I do have I shot a gun before. Did I like the feeling? It was pretty empowering, but it also was very scary because it made me realize what these 15-year-olds who are getting pulled over by cops, or who being from LA, there's a lot of gang violence here. You put these guns in their hands, you know? And I don't think people realize until you actually physically hold a gun, load it, handgun, rifle, whatever, that you will feel like, okay, what the heck, Yeah. So I get it when these little kids have these guns, and like, even though gang violence, it sucks, it's bad, it's stupid in my opinion, I understand how sometimes they get scary. They're like, they freeze, because it is a weird feeling. Mind you, I'm in a facility where the paper is like 15 feet in front of me, Imagine having somebody who's like yelling at you, doing all these things. So I think with this justice system, there's not really justice if you're a person of color, if you're a minority.
Yeah.
White, like, let's, for example, I feel it's ridiculous that these people who went into schools, predominantly white,
exactly,
with the intent to go and kill all these people. Oh, he has a mental illness.
Don't even get me started.
Don't even get me started on that. Please do not get me started on
all these other people. Mind you, these people get a bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
After shooting up a school of kids, maybe, or a church.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get pulled to the ground, beaten with a baton. They get led like an army, like if they were the president and the Secret Service is around them.
Yep.
But someone over here has a pack of Skittles, a toy gun. In the police get the wrong apartment building. Shot. For what? For what?
Yeah, I agree.
This is the issue right here, people. Like, this is why the people of the Black Lives Matter movement are mad. They're disgusted. I will never understand what it's like to be Black. I know what it's like to be Latino. And when I hear the racism that goes on in our community, it boils my skin. So when I hear their stories, it makes me 10 times more like, how do people not think that this is okay? Like the autopsy with George Floyd we fucking know he was suffocated to death.
We saw it. Like, everyone saw it. And
then they wanted to blame it first on heart conditions.
And I'm like, first of all, when people say, oh, heart condition, can you go ahead and pull up his medical history, please, to see if there was any sense of heart conditioning prior to that? Please.
And this is why. Go ahead, girl. Sorry.
Oh, no, that was it. Like, I was just like, I love how, like, me personally, how I feel about what Brittany asked is the following. The president has a responsibility to all citizens in this country to set the tone. And the fact that he's so, he's so limited in his mindset and the way that he protects the citizens of the United States, because he is not. He's actually protecting when it's his convenience, when the economy is involved, and when it's white people. That's the reality. You Trump supporters can come into my DMs. I'm ready for you guys. At the end of the day, little background, you can ask Brittany. I've been studying politics since I was like 12. So I know what I'm talking about. So when people say, okay, like when they protesting for their jobs and stuff. Okay, we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? If
And I
you're
don't think that went through. They didn't get that
if you're
message, I
sick,
guess.
you can't work. If people are dying, at the end of the day, you're just a number. You are just a number in this country. So the fact that you protect it so much, the reality is you are just a number, especially if you work in corporate America. I've worked in corporate America for a bank that's been predominantly white, and I'm just a number. Right, guys? So at the end of the day, the problem is the president, in the sense of how he sets the tone for this country. If he was a president that said, you know what, this is not correct, I promise you these protests would not be happening. They wouldn't. Because you'd have a supportive president knowing and not hiding in a fucking bunker. That irritates me so much. You're hiding in a fucking bunker protecting your ass when there's people fighting for things that you as a president have the freaking responsibility as a president. When you put the oath and you put your hand on the fucking Bible and you said, I'm gonna be a fucking president, you are hiding. Not only does it tell me that you are weak in character, you're limited in your intelligence, and you are just a shitty ass person. So
and that's a fucking period, bitch.
Sorry. I should have been a political major. That shit pisses me off.
You know what's sad? He couldn't even address our nation. Former President Barack Obama did.
Yes. Which is someone that, you know, people make fun of all the time. Okay, people have their own political views on it, but at the end of the day, at least he was hiding in a fucking bunker and addressed the situation.
Let me just turn the lights off, guys.
Let me turn the lights off and make sure, you know, I'm going to be okay. No, your time is coming, sir. Your time is coming. You can hide all you want, but at the end of the day, someone's always watching. You can't hide.
And November's around the corner. And like I said, and I tell my friends all the time, the biggest power, though they want to believe it or not, vote. Just vote.
It's voting. It really is voting.
Just vote. Vote them out. Vote them all out. All your elected officials. You're not supporting me? Out.
I think that that's something that should be taught in school, is how to vote, especially if you're a senior, because when you're a senior, you're pretty much 17, 18, depending on your age. But that should be it, you know? Like, I remember when Trump was actually running, there was kids our age I would, you know, converse, whatever. Oh, I'm gonna vote for Trump because it's funny. Yeah, what a fucking joke America is right now, right, guys?
Yeah.
So when you know what? I'm sorry. Talking about that, I remember that I was like, first of all, I'm kind of a nerd, guys, disclaimer. Okay, like I was saying, when he was running, right, people thought it was a joke. I read this man's, I didn't read, I'm sorry. I watched this man's documentary. And to be honest, guys, educate yourself on who you voted for. This man's, his dad, Fred Trump, actually raised him in the sense of, it's money and power. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter who you fuck over. It does not matter, because his dad actually fucked over a lot of people in the real estate industry when he started his thing in New York, right? So when people voted for him and stuff, and also he himself, like, he also went in an interview a couple years ago where they asked him, you're a really successful business person. I'll give it to him. He knows his shit.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll give it to him.
But he don't know how to run a country.
Bad. Okay, you know how to run a country in the financial sense. And it's very important. We need jobs, so and so and so. But damn, bro, like, that's just not what it is. That's not the only thing that makes a country. And what really astounded me was that in his interview, I think it was with like Barbara Walters or something like that. Hello? Oh, sorry.
Okay.
He was like, she asked him, she goes, okay, Donald Trump, you are a successful business person. What's next? He's like, I have everything but power. Now I want power.
Well,
this is the person that you guys elected.
Yeah.
A power-hungry person. There's nothing wrong with wanting power, but it is wrong when you're hiding in a bunker, when your citizens, when you took the oath, fighting and killing themselves and killing people. Each other, that's wrong. So congratulations to all the people that voted for a monster, because he really is a monster. Like, the economy is not what the United States is. At the end of the day, we are people, and we actually are the ones who run the economy. So no people, no peace, no economy.
Yeah. Facts, man. And like I said, burn down these fucking corporations. Fuck them all, yo. I have
Support
a
small businesses, bro. Like,
facts, and
I'm
that's
Come
on
on,
fucking
guys.
period.
like,
Yeah.
I've been saying it since New Year's, bro. Like, now more than ever, like, we want to talk about how much we love our community, we support our people. Put your dollars where the money. Well, put your money where
Money
where
where-
your mouth is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, like, if you really think about it, because I like H&M, like this past year, I remember, like, they put like a little black boy in, like, what was it, like a monkey sweater or something like that?
Yeah, what the fuck is that about?
They
Like,
didn't even think that was wrong or anything. Or, you know, like, there's so, like, even now, like, there's a lot, like, just because you have a minority model does not mean you're all inclusive, okay?
Yeah.
So, guys, when, like, go out there. When you have a friend that's starting a business, support them, bro. Go out, you
Period.
know, like, no, I think it's enough that we give so much dollars to people who don't even
fuck is-
fucking need it, don't even care when it comes time to, like, things like this.
Yep.
Support small businesses.
Like I said, honestly, that's what you have to do. Support your local businesses because they're the ones who need it. These corporations, listen, all
They
these
don't need it.
corporations are part of the top 2% of America that's trying to control the 98% that's not part of the top 2%. Okay, guys? And you know, all these don't listen. Oh, and this is a key point that I want to bring out too. Please do not listen to the shit that you see on the news. All those
Honestly.
Don't
news
watch Fox
channels
News.
are owned by the same person. They're gonna put out the same shit. And if you notice, all these news channels only play like 5 seconds of a clip. When you go on Twitter, when you go on Instagram, you'll
Yes.
see the remaining minute of the clip and you'll see how bad it is. That because they're making it seem like, oh, these protesters are crazy and they're so bad. But in reality, so many people have been having peaceful protests or they're having sit-ins and they're doing things, but that's not what they want to put on the news because
Yeah.
that's not what's getting the views up right now. So listen,
Yeah.
like Stephanie was saying, you're just a number in reality. That's what they want us to do. They want us, one, you're just a number, and two, they want us all to be separated. Because united, if we were, like you said, the United
Yes,
States,
Brittany,
right?
go off,
If we
man.
were period, bitch. They wasn't ready for me. That's all I gotta say. Period. But if think about it like this, what if we were all together and united as one? You could overthrow all of the government. Okay.
And that's what they're scared of. That's what they're scared of.
And that's why now you don't know it. Okay, guys, this is a woke moment. All this shit has been happening, right? Yeah. Okay, so
Third eye
listen,
woke, guys.
all this shit has been happening. People have been burning down buildings. Now, all of a sudden, you see how quickly they arrested the first guy, right? They noticed shit was popping up. Okay, then they thought that people were gonna calm down. Nah, give us the next
No.
3. They arrested the next 3. Oh, but they thought it was gonna be over. Nah, it's not over because
No.
we need more shit to get.
They
Because
need
this
a
is not the
conviction.
only
They
thing.
need to be
Exactly.
rotting in jail.
Yes. If not, don't stop. Hell no. Don't stop. Won't stop. That's it. Yo, this little girl, this boy, her son, like they don't have a father, you know? All these other people who have lost all their lives. Look, me and Steph actually went to school with Trayvon Martin when
He was
passed
in my
away.
class, guys. I literally spoke to this boy. He was behind me. When
And
I went
that was
a very sad moment. Okay. Now, when that whole thing happened, I'm like, bro, like you will, if you've never experienced that, guys, I hope you never experience that, losing a classmate and losing someone that you actually spoke to every freaking day and going into your classroom and looking behind you and knowing that he's not there, not because, you know, he was skipping class because someone killed him. It's fucked up.
Bro,
But-
that had to be my first protest, actually, not gonna lie. And it's and listen, guys, and it's okay to just have a peaceful protest too. Don't think I'm telling you to burn up the whole fucking city.
No, we're not. We're
I'm
saying
not
that.
telling
We're
you
saying practice
no.
your rights.
Yeah, just practice your rights, you feel me? And peaceful protesting, listen, it's great. You know, we had a peaceful protest and it's something that I feel like everyone should experience because it's something that you believe in, you know? Like for me, that was my first one. And I could tell you, like, I had chills, you know, it made you want to cry. Like, because it's one of those things where it's like, these are people's lives that are going to be changed for the rest of their lives. You know,
Which,
like,
by
they're
the
never going
way,
to see that
though,
person.
Yeah, and which honestly, let's shout out to his mom because she's gonna
Oh,
be in
she's
Miami-Dade
running!
commercial.
Yes, she's running!
Florida.
So you guys go out and vote.
January? I mean, you guys vote in July for your primary, so.
Oh,
yeah.
Girl, I already voted. Okay, so I just voted for the Democratic one, but no one went out to vote. But I went and I voted even during coronavirus because that's something I don't play with.
You
When it
have
comes to voting, yeah, that's your civil duty. Or civic duty. It's one of those words.
Civic.
A civic? Okay,
Yeah.
it's your civic duty. Do it. Like, it's literally, and mind you, a lot of you guys probably go to school. You can get the fucking free registration right there with the clipboards. Just fill it out and you have it. And
Dude,
that's
yeah.
it, you know?
So when you register to vote, you could ask, because I've done this. I get my ballot through the mail. I mail vote. You get it through the mail. They give you you don't even have to buy a stamp. You just put it in and that's it. Your vote is in. So if you don't have time to go to the polls, you have time to sit at home for 10 minutes to fill out your little ballot. Now, mind you, you got to do a little bit more work because you have to understand the different things that these people who are running for that certain type of office, what they stand for. These certain type of bills that are going to be passed, how is that going to affect me, my family, my community? You know, you
do
have
your
to
research. That's where it starts off.
But don't even give me that excuse because we've all done it. We Google, we Yelp. What's the best nail place in town? Oh, what's my favorite football team going? All these things. You have time to do that. You have time to make a difference and vote and get to know what these people are doing.
Absolutely.
I agree. 100%. I 100% agree with that statement. So, like we're saying, honestly, this is something that is never, I don't think you're ever going to be prepared to deal with something like this. But today is the day that you're like,
starts today, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to see what's going on. I'm going to be informed. That's the key. Be informed. See who you are. Evaluate yourself. It's okay to take the time to be like, what's my reaction to this? Why am I reacting like this?
Mm-hmm.
Think about those things, and be a part of something, join, be like, I'm not telling you to go ahead and me personally, I would protest because I like to protest. That's who I am. Because if I'm strongly for something, I'm going to be out there and protest. Though I may not post it on my social media, I think that's where people need to realize, because I'm not posting it on my social media doesn't mean that I'm not doing the work. Exactly. And for those of you who are going into people's DMs saying that, you need to reevaluate too. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that either. I don't think that's correct, because we each are battling our own story. You don't know what the other person is doing behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Yeah. You might be the type of person that you want to go and protest because you need to go and you want to, okay, cool. But there's some people who are not ready for that. And what they like to do is they just sign all their petitions. They give money to other organizations that also help, like there's a lot of things that people do that they're just not vocally, and you don't have to vocalize. It's fine. Like how people were getting mad that certain celebrities weren't posting about, okay, but that's okay because you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. You need to worry about yourself. Like you have to worry about what are you doing to better your community. It shouldn't matter what the next celebrity is doing. It's what are you doing to help out.
Yeah. So I will say, guys, from my perspective, and you can ask anyone, this is probably like the quote that as I get older, I resonate with it more. It's when Gandhi goes, be the change you wish to see in the world.
My favorite quote.
Period.
I'm going to get it tatted on me somewhere. Surprise. I'll let you guys know. But it's something that even this man years ago, he really brought something to the light. It all starts with yourself. You have to ask yourself that uncomfortable question. And you have to, honestly, guys, whatever your opinion may be, whatever, ask yourself, is that your opinion and what you think and not what your grandma thinks or not what your best friend thinks? What do you think? You need to research. You need to get out to the point and ask yourself those hard questions, because at the end of the day, it's you, right? Yeah. It's not whatever your colleagues think or whatever. Like, we need to get out that stigma. Like, okay, they can think that, but I'm not going to bandwagon because whatever. No, we live in a country where, it's not perfect, but we have the privilege to actually research things and not get, arrested or killed for. So please, guys, like, don't take that lightly. Don't take it to the point where, don't take it, what's the word? Personal? Take advantage of it. Take advantage of that shit, man. Like, stop with the bullshit. If you can research your fantasy football league, then you can go ahead and research a couple things that are going to freaking affect you.
Yeah, like if you need help with that, let people know.
No.
You know what I mean?
Ask questions. I feel like so many people are willing to explain, and I think people just, like we said, don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation. this is the time to do it. Educate yourself. I personally have these conversations with my friends all the time. You know, I like to be informed. If we're not from the same, for example, when people have questions about Honduras, shit, I'll tell you the truth about Honduras. You feel me? I'm going to be 100% honest with you, you know? Vice versa. When I have questions about what's going on, they tell me, listen, this is how I feel. Because at first, I didn't understand. I'll just speak real quick on a personal experience. So at first, I didn't understand why people were burning down buildings. I didn't understand the point of it. But then my friend sat down, she talked to me. She's like, oh, these are big corporations, and they're not doing nothing to help out the community. They're making money off of us because guess what? Well, everything was closed. Walmart was open. Target was open. Amazon was definitely popping because he's about to be a trillionaire now.
Yeah.
And you know what? They can afford it. They can afford it. So I have an uncle from my white side who he was a manager at Target, and his Target was
like looted or
looters.
something.
Yeah, it was looters that like literally tore that shit up. Right, but they were informed, I guess, that people were gonna come and loot. So he like closed everything down. Whatever. They ended up stealing everything at Target. Point is, my dad's like talking to me about it, you know, and it's his brother, and I get it, you know, it's traumatic. But to me, like, I couldn't feel bad because in reality, like, what? Alrighty then, simmer down, guys.
All right.
In reality, I could not feel bad, not because like, obviously he's my uncle and, you know, I want him to be safe, but this is what happens when corporate America thinks that they are in control of the 98% that's not getting benefited.
Yep.
And this is the reaction of it. So I could not feel bad. Yes, I feel bad because it's my uncle, but do I feel bad for Target? No. Do I feel bad? At the end of the day, he's going to get paid. The employees are going to get paid. Target's going to build up a new store. They're set, you know. But this made me realize that we are in control of the situation. The government can't control us. If we keep protesting, shit's gonna come our way real quick. Like shit's gonna be in favor for us, compared to like if we're just staying quiet and we're just waiting
and being submissive to this. No, don't be submissive to this.
No,
and honestly, guys. Oh wait, I'm sorry but it just you brought up something. Ahead. You know, guys, like I worked in corporate America for a couple of years. I no longer do, but think of it this way. When people go so diehard, oh, you shouldn't loot, you shouldn't do this. I would feel bad if that corporate America did something to help me as an individual and not just themselves. Then I would feel bad. Yep. Right?
Never.
But the fact is, if something happens to me, corporate America just, oh, well, sucks.
Tough luck.
You're replaced.
Tough luck.
That's it. You're replaced.
So you guys
that's why
die
now
hard for these people that don't really give a fuck about you.
Exactly. And you know what's so funny now? Everyone in corporate America, giving $500,000 for this or no, bitch. I don't want to see that. I want to see change. I don't care about your money. I don't care about that shit. I want to see change. Yep. That's what I want to see. Because right now, no, that's not shit for us. Right now, we need to see laws made. We need to see better training in police facilities, how to handle situations. Because obviously all these police officers, don't get me wrong, I have police officers that are in my family and stuff like that. But I feel like that needs to be another level of training so they're better educated on how to deal with situations. Because this, off my money, off the taxes we pay, should not be happening. Nope. I don't agree.
Nah, final words.
I just want to say, you guys, if you want to complain about shit, be about the change. Get your ass up, go get informed. And you know what? At the end of the day, the way I've grown up in LA and going to Miami, I've always seen people, minorities. That's what I like. When I see a Caucasian, it's kind of like, damn, what you doing here, bro? You know? So I think it's kind of crazy how somebody else has that different mentality. But I understand because that's not what they were around. But what I'm saying to you, the audience, to see more people of color in these leadership positions and making changes. So go out there, be the change, set the example for our future kids. Because I'll be damned if when we bring kids into this world, they still have to fight this fight. Like, I know it's not going to change overnight, that there's so many people that just have hate in their hearts, and I pray that they change that. But let's start having more conversations, guys. Let's start doing stuff, because by just being complacent and just, oh, well, they could do it or whatever, that's not going to help. Because the people that came before us have done so much work. We can't let that work go in vain.
Yeah.
At all. So with that being said, please make sure you're registered to vote. We're going to leave a link down below in the description where you guys could click on. And then there's this one organization, well, it's like a link that will have petitions. It has so many resources, things you could watch, things you could read. They answer questions like what is systematic privilege, what is white privilege, things like that. So definitely take the time, go through this website. It's called Black Lives Matters with an S.card with 2 R's.co, and I'll link that down below as well. But
Perfect.
yeah, guys, like if you guys have anything you guys want to talk to us about regarding this, hit our line. Let's keep the conversation going. Do not stop here. You know, the conversations don't have to get heated. They could be respectful. We agree to disagree, but we're having the conversation.
And help educate us too. If you have anything that you want to educate us and teach us, let us know. We're always open to hear things, guys. So to cut this off, we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you guys
and
for
stay
tuning
tuned next week to Las Chicas del Barrio. Bye.
Bye.